What's going on, guys? Welcome back to United View. Hope everyone is doing very well, having a good Saturday morning. We are just over 48 hours away from the Monday Night Football, Old Trafford, under the lights, Manchester United versus Liverpool. But before we get there, before we get into the Premier League weekend, which is now upon us, game week 3, there are plenty of Manchester United transfer news, rumours, and stories to get into. So we're going to be covering all of it. So be sure to smash a like on the like button. Be sure to subscribe, bottom right-hand corner as well. Be sure to join the UB Members Club too. You can do so by clicking the link in the video description. It's also the pinned comment in the live chat. You get your badges, you get your emojis, you get your exclusive members-only content, such as United View Raw, the new exclusive series, giving you a behind-the-scenes look at all things United View on a match day. So plenty of stuff going on the channel, it must be said. Yesterday was a doozy of a day, and I feel like we could be entering another one. But joined this morning by Marcel. How are you doing, mate?
Fine, thank you, Owen. Good morning. Haven't had my porridge today.
Oh,
Just right now, just feeling a bit down, obviously, towards the market now. Last couple of weeks, I think it is, and so we need to get a couple more players in. So looking to see what happens with that, and obviously, the main focus is obviously the ownership right now. So just reading, understanding, and that kind of thing.
I'm surprised that you've come in with that attitude. It must be said. I thought you were going to come in with a bit of positivity. You know, Casemiro signing, heading into match day in a couple of days. No,
Well, I don't think we get the. He's not playing. He's not going to play
no,
by the
no,
squad.
it's not. No, it's not.
So there's nothing really great. It might
When
be the
did you
exact
become a
same.
realist? When did you become a realist? This is change.
This is recent. This is a recent thing, of course. You got to change. You can't stay the same all the time. You got to move the goalpost and evolve your ideas, how you think about things. But I'm still optimistic about the manager and the squad and us trying to push for top four. It's just, you know, I was expecting 5 signings and we've fallen short of that as of now. And we needed to get that done before the season started. To be honest with you, and
Well,
that hasn't happened.
speaking of signings and speaking of one possible outgoing, one could be the Manchester United captain, if reports are to be believed. Because according to the Daily Mail, and take this with a pinch of salt, folks, it must be said, take it with a pinch, take it with 2 handfuls of salt, because Chelsea, according to the Daily Mail, have inquired about Harry Maguire's availability amid growing doubts over his future at Manchester United. Chelsea raised the possibility of taking Maguire to West London as part of Manchester United's attempts to sign Christian Pulisic. Of course, we were linked to Pulisic earlier this week. Reports saying United were interested in signing the American international, possibly on loan. Chelsea weren't interested in a loan. They weren't even interested in selling Pulisic to a Premier League rival. So, by all accounts, during those initial conversations, Chelsea said, "What about Harry Maguire?" Now, the reason why they asked about Harry Maguire is because Harry Maguire's place in the Manchester United starting 11 is understood to be under threat, with Rafael Varane pushing for a return to the team. Eric Ten Hag will make a final decision on whether he is going to drop Harry Maguire within the next 24 hours. Of course, there had been rumours that Maguire was possibly going to be dropped by Ten Hag for Monday's clash at Old Trafford. Now, despite their interest in Maguire, a move for Wesley Fofana remains Chelsea's priority, and there was growing optimism yesterday that a deal could finally be done to take the Leicester player to Stamford Bridge. Marcel, when you hear this, first of all, how much do you believe it, or how excited do you get? And two, what are the chances that when the transfer window closes on September 2nd, that Harry Maguire is going to be a Man United player?
So the belief and excitement are two different things, really. I've got to kind of extract the two. But what I would say is that the excitement, very, very happy. That sounds like a good thing. I mean, you could even look at a straight swap. Maybe Pulisic straight for Maguire. That could be possible. Yeah, it could be, Owen. It could be something that we need to look at. To be honest with you, I mean, I would happily take Maguire on a loss, 30 million. I'd happily get that deal done. Um, but the reality of it, I'm not sure. I'm not so sure. Obviously, he's the captain of the club. The manager said the established captain, but then that gives him an opportunity maybe to appoint a new captain. I think there's so many benefits from doing this deal now instead of deliberating on it maybe next season or the season after. We as fans can clearly see he's not got the attributes to play in our side, and he can't defend from the halfway line. We need defenders that can defend on their own, 1v1, maybe even 2v1, holding up play when they need to. He can't do that. I don't think he can do that. So, and I think it benefits him going in a system where there's three centre backs. He'll be going into that system. they play three centre backs. There's a deal to be done there, and we can maybe take Pulisic. They want somebody on a permanent. A straight swap would be a good idea. I mean, very excited if it can get done. Can our boardroom do savvy business like that, clever business? We need a player in the forward line. We've got so many centre backs, and we've been going into the market for centre backs for years now. So Varane's not always fit and that kind of thing, but Eric Bailly hasn't left yet, as far as I'm aware. So there's opportunity there.
Seeing in the comments some people saying turn up your mic, Marcel. So either I guess speak up,
No.
or if there's any volume on your mic, if you could turn that up,
Can you hear
possibly.
me now?
Yes, that's better.
Yeah,
that does sound
yeah.
better. There you go.
Sorry,
There you
sorry.
go. See, there you go. There you go. But yes, to carry on talking about Maguire. Look, when people see that, and when people see that, oh, Chelsea inquiring in Maguire, I think unanimously people will say, "Go, happy for him to go to Stamford Bridge."
Yeah.
I mean, ironically, it would probably for him be a better move for him, not just in terms of competing for titles or anything like that. It'd be a better move for him because I think the system would work better. Let's be honest. Back three. They play with a back three. He'd be far more protected. When's he played best? When he's played for England. And England, what do they play? They play a back three. So that would suit him better. But I'm not going to, sit here this morning and say I expect Harry Maguire to join Chelsea. I think that clearly they're in the market for another centre-back. It's going to be Fofana, I think. I think that Fofana deal does happen. The money that's being quoted for that Fofana fee, must be said, is astronomical. Wow. Wow. Don't know what that was. It must be said we're back. We're back by all accounts. It sounded like when you get hacked in by aliens or hacked in by... It sounded like someone turned a shower on or something like that. We were talking before the show about Marcel's got a water fountain behind him for his cat. And he was saying, can you hear that? And it sounded like... it was crazy. Harry Maguire hacking the audio. Unbelievable. But to go back to the Maguire conversation, it does open up the possibility talking about his place in the first team. I do think that maybe Eric Ten Hag is not, or thinking about not making the same mistakes that people like Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, that like Ralph Rangnick did by playing Maguire over and over again and thinking like, you know what, actually, I've got Martinez, I've got Varane. They're the better two centre-backs. Of course, there's fitness issues with Varane, but maybe Maguire, his place in the first team might be a bit numbered.
I mean, it's clear when we're talking about attributes of footballers, just look at his attributes. He's a player that will benefit maybe a defensive system or a counter-attacking system that do most of their defensive line work inside their half or inside their box. That's as far as his attributes actually go. He doesn't have the recovery pace. If we're going to play on the halfway line, you need that. That's very important for a front foot team to have a defender that can defend on the halfway line, can defend 1v1, can lead his line properly and draw other players in when he needs to. And he just does. There's no respect. No players are really he can't get any respect from any of these players. And there's just little things that we can see from the way he handles it in the media. The little just lining up players for the start of the game through the tunnel, just little things like that. They're key signs to leadership, and he just doesn't have that, unfortunately. So I would take him at a loss. I think we just got to be able, and that's what a big club does. I've seen other clubs, the player's not working out, get rid of him. Bebe, even at Manchester United back in the day, there used to be certain players, Overton, you would see them for 1 or 2 seasons at max. They're gone. We turning them over. They're not a Manchester United player. That's it. So we just got to be ruthless, and we've got to be honest with ourselves and move on from these kind of things.
I mean, you say you'll take him at a loss. We're not breaking even with Harry Maguire, and we're not making a profit on him. It's always going to be a loss. I mean, it's 80 million. It's always going to be a loss, is it not? I mean, again, it is interesting though with him because I look at. I think Ten Hag's learned a lot. I do in these first 2 games, i.e., that pre-season was almost a false positive in the sense that he thought he could maybe play the way he wanted to with this group of players, or this group of players wasn't as bad as people had told him. I'm sure he heard the rumblings, and I'm sure people within the club, Ralph Rangnick wanted to tell him, but he didn't, take the meeting or spoke to him virtually or whatever. But a lot of people were saying, this group of players, they're just not good enough, or player X isn't good enough, player Y isn't good enough, etc., etc. And he went, no, I believe in them, I can do it. And pre-season, it looked like some of them could. It looked like some of them could do what he wanted to do. And he has had a harsh slap of reality in these first two games that some of these players can't do what he wants to do. People like Harry Maguire playing out from the back, playing a high line, can't do it. And now it's like, actually, yeah, I see maybe what they were talking about. And Harry Maguire is one of them. Ultimately, do I think Maguire's going to leave in the transfer window? No, I don't. I still think he's going to be around. But I do think there's a wider conversation that maybe Ten Hag is having now by saying, maybe he's just not going to be good enough and he's going to have to be a bench player. The issue is that you've already renamed him as the captain, which again then makes a bit of an extra problem, does it not?
Well, how does it is the question. I mean, yeah, how does it, Owen? I don't think it really does. I mean, this man, I think if you're not playing good enough, he will drop you. I really do believe that, and whether that's the captain or not, I've read things before that he has captains in each an individual part of the team. Within the midfield, he'll have somebody that's leading within the defense and within the forward line. So if that's his style and how he's trying to, construct a team, I think if the defender or the captain of the club, and it's established captain, he said. So I think that's subject to change at some stage. So I would take him at a loss, like you said, and just in case, just in terms of Chelsea as well. Chelsea are gonna spend either 80 odd million, a record fee again, on a 23-year-old that's kind of injury prone at the moment, come off the back of a big injury, or you can maybe just do a straight swap for Pulisic with us, or at 50 million,
We're not
60
going to swap
million.
Pulisic for Maguire, though, are we? That swap deal is not going to happen, Marcel. Let's be honest.
So you're in. I know that you're saying it definitely won't happen, but I would like to believe that something good is going to come and Maguire leaves in this window.
This is what I don't understand. So we start off the stream, you're being very realistic. You're going, look, don't matter about signings. He's not playing on Monday. We're not very good. Now we've got to the point where you're going, I believe, Maguire for Pulisic, that straight swap can happen. That will, no way. No way. What are we getting? What are we getting in that?
Well, you're getting exactly what we want as a forward line player. We have so many options at centre back right now. And clearly, Maguire's, maybe even, I would take Lindelof, I would take Eric Bailly over Maguire right now. They have a little bit of attributes in terms of what we want in the team. So, but then again, if Maguire goes, who do you look to as a leader on the side? That would be another huge question for me. Who would be the leader? You can instantly say Ronaldo, but this Ronaldo, it just doesn't seem like he wants to gel with the side. I think Maguire is not a leader, Owen. So we need to replace him. And the extra money can do in terms of maybe getting another midfielder, a right back. We are crying out for a quality, well-rounded right back. You can utilize that elsewhere in the squad.
Who then? Let's say Maguire does stay, but like possibly on Monday, he's not playing as many games, so he's still the captain, the club captain, but he's on the bench. Who then becomes that sort of regular playing captain? Do you think?
It's a really good question, and I think it's Bruno Fernandes. I've always said Bruno Fernandes is the guy. Yeah, I know, Owen. I know people are gonna be complaining, but I think Bruno's the guy. I really do. I've seen Bruno Fernandes carry this team. I've seen a productive Bruno Fernandes, 40 plus goals and assists. That's a player that wants to take the game for us. He has energy, has dynamic footballing abilities. He hasn't cultivated that, and he's struggling right now in the system. And he needs to either find a new position in the team, and that's Ten Hag's job to do that. Or with Casemiro now, you could maybe see us revert back to 2 6s and a 10, and that's been the most productive Bruno when he has two people supporting him in defensive in that midfield line. So we'll see what happens, but I think it'll be him. He gets along with most of the players. I think it'll be Bruno Fernandes.
I think Bruno would get the armband, and put it this way: if Maguire's not playing on Monday, and Bruno most likely will, I think Bruno would be the captain. But
Yeah.
honestly, the options were always limited when it came to the captaincy anyway. They
Yeah.
somehow got even more limited. Think
Yeah.
about it.
Yeah.
Because you would have thought the shoe-in would have been Ronaldo. You're not going to put the captaincy on a player that doesn't want to be at the club and might not be at the club in 2 weeks' time. So Ronaldo's out of the question. Bruno, he plays. He's not playing well. Nobody is. But sometimes it's just his, not just sometimes his quality on the pitch isn't there, but sometimes his attitude of You know, the arm flailing and all that kind of stuff. You just go, is that what you really want for your captain? Previously, I would have said De Gea, but I think De Gea's future is somewhat uncertain. Long term, certainly, you know, and even to be honest, short term, if we got a backup goalkeeper or a number 2 goalkeeper that is technically proficient with his feet, I could absolutely see a scenario whereby this season where it gets so bad for De Gea that this number 2 comes in. I could really see that happening, depending on who it is. So those options, they are limited. They are limited who they could be.
What about? And this is completely left field. What about Marcus Rashford? If he's able to cultivate
look
his
what
game
he's
again,
doing.
yeah, I know, but he was captain throughout that preseason. That's definitely something that we should take into account for sure. But he was captain at one point, scored a goal. I think if he needs to mature, and maybe that added responsibility can definitely get that out of him. Listen, I'm going back to my
Yeah, but
positive,
look,
optimistic
but
self
I
right
know,
now.
I don't know what Marcel.
I'm back.
You're all over
I'm
the place
back.
this morning. But you think, but Rashford, this is also the same guy whose representatives are having talks with PSG, not really to get a move to PSG, but to also get a new contract. Is that what you really want for your club captain as well? That's what I mean. The options are so limited in the Manchester
No, I
United
agree.
squad.
No, I agree. And I'm just throwing out our potential options, and the only 2 that scream to me, well, Bruno definitely for me. That's the one that I would really consider seriously. But Rashford is something that is a bit left field. But if you get a better Rashford, this is one of our own. This is a player that should love this club, understands what it means to play this club. Number 10 for this football club. I've seen number 10s before be captains for us. So if he can improve his performances, and I think Ten Hag wants to use him in the squad, so it's an opportunity there. Never know.
Smash a like on the like button. We've got nearly 1,800 people watching. We can get to 500 likes. We can get to 750. So be sure to smash a like on the like button. Be sure to subscribe, bottom right-hand corner as well. Also, as well, you can see in the sidebars there all of the shows that are out, your regular schedules. Flex and KG shows you can see right there. It will come back. KG is not in the country. You saw him last night in Mexico. Tactical View is currently out right now. Cam and Flex breaking down the disaster that was last weekend against Brentford. Of course, you've got the Transfer View every day at 9 a.m. during this transfer window where we're going to give you all of the transfer news and information. The overview is out. It kind of got squashed last night. Myself and Matisse previewing match week 3 of the Premier League, so be sure to check that out. Match View, we're going to be live Monday, 7:30 for the big game at Old Trafford, so be sure to join us there. And the match previewing Monday's game will be out tonight at 6. I'm joined by AGT from the COP TV. Real fun video that, so be sure to check that out. Of course, we've changed the way we do our match previews a little bit. Well, a lot, actually. The first proper one we had was that Brentford game with Flex talking to Natalie Sawyer, which was excellent. So be sure to check out the match preview, which drops tonight. Let's get to the super chats this morning. WJ Barrett is first up. He says, good morning, Owen, and good morning, Marcel. Good day. That's it. Just the positivity. Just a bit of positivity. Good morning. Good morning, WJ Barrett.
Good morning. Good morning,
Hope
WJ.
you're doing well. Recently married, WJ Barrett. So hope you and Mrs. WJ Barrett is doing very well as well. Ronald Jacob says, don't fall for this. The Glazers have tried Ronaldo's spin and tried signing Casemiro. Didn't work. Now they are spinning on mighty Maguire. No one is interested in that fridge. Even Silver is faster than fridge. Ronald Jacob letting his voice known this morning. We are going to talk a little bit about the ownership in a second, so don't worry about that. We've got that covered. Mikeron says, Owen, where's the Casemiro scout report? Wow. KG is out of the country. The scout and KG are 2 different people, it must be said. They're not the same person, but just coincidentally, ironically, the scout is also in Mexico at the moment, along with
Scouting
KG.
in Mexico.
So he's on a scouting trip, scouting some of the Mexican divisions there. So once the scout returns, we possibly will get a scout report on Casemiro. Hezron says, Haag hasn't played a pre-season lineup yet. And James says, Bruno isn't good enough to start. Ridiculous. Wow. James, clearly not a fan of Bruno Fernandes. I do think Bruno will start, though, it must be said, on Monday. WJ Barrett back once again says, Malacia, Eriksson, Martinez, Casemiro, Gakpo or Antony, we need to get excited. Back the manager and team regardless. We beat Poole and we are 1 point ahead. WJ Barrett, I love that optimism. but I don't know. I don't know about that one. I mean, it's factually accurate. If we do beat Liverpool, we're going to be 1 point ahead. But Man. Sandro says the same Bruno that misplaces a pass and moans at his teammates when it's impossible for them to get the ball. As a captain, lol. Yes, that's kind of my concerns as well with Bruno. And James,
Sandro, come on. This is not. I disagree with these statements on Bruno, man. I think he's very dynamic for us,
but he's
and he's not
factually
always
accurate.
moaning.
What he said, he is always moaning. He's always moaning.
No, but sometimes at the referee, Owen, and sometimes he wants decisions to go for our club. It's not
Yeah, but
always moaning.
sometimes he's moaning at the referee because he got, in his eyes, fouled when he didn't get fouled, but he just gave the ball away, or his quality was poor, or something like. He got tackled because his touch wasn't very good, and it's the referee's fault. Referee's fault. It's like, well, no, come on, Bruno. The worst one I saw of him, he did a short corner, I think, to someone, and someone did a short corner to him, and he did a bad cross. He blamed it on the short corner. Was he taking the piss? That is ridiculous. James says the one of our own mentality has ruined this club. Unlimited chances for distinctly average / terrible players. Sentimental FC is an absolute joke, TBH. Wow. And Ramanan says any player from the Ollie era should not be trusted with captaincy. Lissandro is aggressive, and if he can stand up with his performance, he is an option. It was interesting, Ten Hag kind of pushing back a little bit in that Jamie Carragher and Gary Neville interview, it must be said, when they were saying about him being dominated. And he said, well, the data doesn't prove that. The data proves that he is dominating, which I thought was quite interesting about that. And I must say, I mean, it's only a trailer, but Jamie Carragher and Gary Neville absolutely pepper Erik Ten Hag in that interview, more than we have seen other managers in the past. And I was a bit like, I thought it was a bit harsh, it must be said. But we'll see. Full interview, full context. Zayn Miassi says, after Monday, Arsenal will be 9 points ahead. How the mighty have fallen to spend 70 million on a 31-year-old. Look, Zayn, obviously, I can't push back too much. We're a bit in the mud right now. You know the feeling. And you're reaping those rewards. So I do congratulate you. It's Saturday, August 20th. You've already won the league, which is pretty impressive. I don't think that was possible. So we'll see what happens at the end of the season. Another invincible season coming up, right? And I'm sure we'll hear about that again forever, Anula says, really like your banter. You guys are a good bunch. We appreciate that, Ulas. We appreciate that. So be sure to smash a like on the like button. As I mentioned, nearly got 1,800 people watching. We can get to 500 likes. Be sure to subscribe, bottom right-hand corner. Let's talk about Antony Marcel, because things are getting quite tasty when it comes to Antony, because he might just be a move to Manchester United from Ajax. This is quite a big story this morning. So Antony yesterday refused to train with Ajax in a bid to force through a move to Manchester United. He turned up at Ajax's training ground, but then informed coach Alfred Schroeder he would not be joining the rest of the squad. This was widely reported out in Holland and obviously over here in the UK. Now, Ajax have refused to confirm that Antony was trying to engineer his departure by not training after Manchester United tabled an offer that would see them pay up to £63.8 million up front and a further £8.3 million in add-ons. Antony's advisors arrived in Holland from South America earlier this week after Manchester United informed them they were ready to launch an official bid. Sources, according to the Mirror, in Amsterdam, believe it's only now a matter of time before Ajax relent and allow Antony his dream move to Manchester United. But this is where things get really interesting. So yesterday he shows up to training and says, I don't want to train. I'm here, but I don't want to train because I want to have this move to Manchester United. Antony's done an interview this morning. This is quite big. Antony's done an interview with the Telegraph in Holland, and he spoke a lot. Possibly the biggest thing to come out of this interview was when he was asked if he could give any guarantees that he will still be at Ajax at the end of the month. And Antony said, quote, no, to be perfectly honest, I can't. What I can say is that I want to come to the right decision with my family, business partners, and Ajax, which is good for everyone. In the end, God determines my future. And now I'm focusing on playing football, and I have put all the other matters in the hands of my agents and my brother. They will advise me on what is the best. Now, he went on to talk about his relationship with Erik Ten Hag, saying he's been super important to me. I'm grateful to him, wish him all the best. I will always cheer for Erik after working so closely together, and saying that he hasn't been able to celebrate us getting 3 points yet, or Erik getting 3 points yet. And he said, quote, Manchester United will improve at his hand. At his previous clubs, he has proven that his method works. So all of that which is a lot. He refuses to train yesterday because he wants to push through this move to Manchester United. Manchester United had a bid that's rejected. There are reports possibly United could go back in for him once again with an even bigger bid. But you've also got him coming out saying, I don't know if I'm going to be at Ajax at the end of the month. That feels very significant, does it not?
That definitely changes and sways the mindset. I was saying before, why is it taking so long? And I guess that's to do with our end. That's on our end, the boardroom. We should have maybe executed this deal before. But if Anthony's now trying to push this move, and we knew that he wanted to maybe come and follow Eric Ten Hag, so hopefully something can get done there. And Ajax can be more reasonable. Before we was hearing that they didn't want players to leave the club and they had done all their business for the window. Then I'm hearing Everton have come in and look to get a player, Kundus or something. I'm not sure what the
Yeah.
player's name is, but Everton would have been looking for players. So they're still willing to sell, but not to Man United or for an extraordinary price that overpriced him for some reason, which didn't make any sense. But for him to say what he said, it just speaks volumes of the loyalty that players that have worked with Ten Hag have. And that's something that we need. Our players haven't showed any loyalty for a good while now, and sticking to principles of play. And he's one of those players that understand Ten Hag's principles. That's another thing that our players haven't been able to stick to for a little while is sticking to the plan. Under Ralph, they threw him under the bus and lost his principles. So and they look like then losing Eric Ten Hag's principles. So he needs to bring in players that understand his game. This is positive. This is a really, really good thing. And if we can get this deal done, then maybe Gakpo is somebody that you miss. And I think that's got to be a decision between obviously Gakpo and Antony. I don't think you get both in. So who would you rather take over?
Well, it was going to be my next question, really. I do have concerns. I do have concerns about Antony, just the price. That price is massive. That price
Yeah,
is huge. You look at, they're saying, I think they came in initially with an 80 million euro bid. It's possibly going to go up to even higher. That's a lot. That is a lot. That's a lot of money. And I look at someone like Cody Gakpo, who is just as good, I think, if not better, honestly, than Antony. I think his output last season was better. He's a cheaper option. We are going to talk about Gakpo in a second, but it's more the price. The price I look at for Antony is just so high, and it seems so avoidable. Really, I mean, you said I don't know why Ajax have named that, put that price tag on him. They put that price tag on Antony because they know it's too high. They know he's not worth that. They know he's worth maybe, I don't know, 50, 60 million quid, maybe, if not euros, sorry. They know he's probably worth around that. The reason they put that price tag on of 80 to 100 million euros, they put that on because they don't want to sell. They've sold a lot of players. And they always sell players, but they've sold a lot of players this summer. And frankly, they don't want to be doing any real business in terms of big players, bringing in big players this close to the end of the window. I think a positive for us, if you're an Antony fan and you want Antony, is that one, the player's clearly forcing the move through and wants to do the move. And it's a lot of money on the table. And Ajax do have a price for everyone. But maybe the big, most important part of it is that there are other reports saying that Hakim Ziyech could go back to Ajax as a replacement for Antony should he go. And once you see that clubs do have a ready-made replacement that they could do quickly, that's when you start going, okay, maybe this one actually can happen because the other club are actively looking for the replacement. It was the same with Lisandro Martinez. What delayed that a little bit towards the end was, we've got to get a replacement first. And they had a replacement. So by the time they sold Martinez, they already had another centre back in. So that could be another situation similar with the Antony one. But I do just look at it and look, we need strength in depth. We need a player on the right-hand side. That ticks all the boxes. Antony, good player, quality player. Is he an 80 million euro player? No. But that's what you get when you panic. That's what you get when you're desperate. That's what you get when you leave things late. You have to pay over the odds. You have to pay a premium. And you have to get a bit of luck on the player side because they have to do things that maybe they don't want to do, i.e. really burn that relationship with Ajax and really burn that bridge and force the move through. I'm sure ultimately he really doesn't want to do that. He would hope that it would be smooth and he could leave peacefully, but it doesn't look like that's going to be the way it happens. But I mean, if you were to ask, if I said, Marcel, today, is this move going to happen? What would you say? Do you think it does happen?
Um, because it's taken so long, and we're going to be paying over the odds. I doubt it. Is it a good deal to make in terms of the quality, what it benefits for us on the pitch? I think so. Yes, he's got Casemiro and Fred alongside him now, so there's already a Brazilian, a few Brazilian teammates there. Do I think it's going to happen? I don't think so, because this should have happened ages ago, to be honest with you. And I think the cheaper option is something that the boardroom will go with. Um, it's just a lot of money, Owen. It's just a lot of money.
It is a lot of money, indeed. Be sure to smash a like on the like button. Nearly got 2K watching. Still not 500 likes. It's a disgrace. It's a cheat. We can do
Cheat,
better.
yeah.
Couple of super chats before we move on quickly. Zamiasi's back once again. Says we could get Invincibles again, and imagine if United don't win one game this season. When's your next win coming? I do think United will win a game. I don't know when. You're right, Zane.
Leicester and Southampton, Zane. We've
But
got Southampton.
don't jinx it, Marcel. Don't jinx it, Marcel. Ula says, no, we've read that one. WJ Barrett, I think the change in focus on the DM getting Casemiro means we will play a pivot, which will unlock Bruno again. Remember, 40 plus goals and assists from Bruno. Believe. And Robert says, I am a Dutchman. Antony and Gakpo aren't your savers. Interesting. We'll have to get in touch with the We Talk Ajax guys to see what they're saying about Antony and Cody Gakpo from PSV as well. Let's move on and talk a bit about ownership, because I wanted to make sure that we got this covered today. I wanted to make sure that we still don't get too distracted when it comes to all things signings. And I do think you can separate them, honestly. I do think you can be happy that, we've signed Casemiro. We finally signed a defensive midfielder. I think you can be encouraged that we're getting possibly Antony or Cody Gakpo, but you can't get distracted from what is the main issue at Manchester United. And the main issue at Manchester United still, and always will be, the ownership issue at the club. The Glazers are still in charge. The Glazers still own the club, but we do have some more details this morning when it comes to a possible buyout of the Glazers, i.e. from Sir Jim Ratcliffe. Now, this comes from The Athletic, of course, very reputable source, actually specifically Adam Crafton from The Athletic, is saying that Sir Jim Ratcliffe has a strong interest in Manchester United. There has not yet been any indication that the Glazers want to concede majority control. Some within the industry have speculated Ratcliffe's public interest is an attempt to bounce them into considering a full sale. Multiple sources have told there are significant differences between the six Glazers in terms of their ongoing interest and commitment in Manchester United. Many believe Joel Glazer is the one whose resolve needs to be broken in order for the club to be fully sold. Sir Dave Brailsford, who is the director of sport for Team Ineos, which of course is Sir Jim Ratcliffe's company, is a key figure in advising Sir Jim Ratcliffe with regards to Manchester United, and their desire to purchase the club remains undimmed. So the reason I wanted to bring this up this morning, Marcel, is I think that it just goes to show that, yes, you've got Sir Jim Ratcliffe's public interest, and he's stated his desire to purchase Manchester United. But the Glazers, the constant thing we have still heard is they don't want to concede full control. We've heard about minority ownership, outside investors. If that report is accurate, you've got members of the Glazer family that would be open to selling, but you still got members of the Glazer family that still want to make money from Manchester United and still want to stay and remain in control, which again goes back to my point as why it's so important not to get totally distracted and let it not distract you, that the main focus, the main transfer we want to see at Manchester United is the Glazers out of the club. And that's why going forward now that we know there are actual, not offers, but there are people out there that want to purchase Manchester United, that's why people's voices continue to need to be still heard, essentially. That's why if you're at the ground, you make your voice heard. If you're outside the ground and you don't want to go in the ground, you make your voice heard. Whether you're on social media and you can't go to the ground, if you're in the UK or you're around the world, you make your voice heard. When we announced that we signed Casemiro last night, I believe the number one trending topic on social media was still Glazers out. And that's what it needs to be, because there's a dent in the armor here. Truly there is. And there hasn't been a dent in the armor for a really long time. And as that report mentions, you've got someone like Sir Jim Ratcliffe. He doesn't even know truly if the Glazers are fully open to selling. He's putting his name out there to put pressure on them. And he's also looking at fans at the games around the world going, but I need your help. I do need your help because I
Yeah.
need to put pressure
Yeah.
on them. You need to tell the Glazers that they're not welcome. And, we don't want outside investment. We want complete change in ownership. So how important is it, do you think, that, again, whilst we can be happy about these signings, we can't get distracted from the biggest issue at the club?
Yeah, no, this is a huge, huge issue for us as a fan base, and just for the history of our club. This is a huge moment. Like you said, there's a chink in the armor, and any way that you possibly can, I think you should be trying to apply a little bit of pressure, and consistently, on the biggest issue right now in the club. Um, it's been years now, consistent, over 10, 15, 17 years of, systematically making the wrong decisions, abandoning the club, taking from the club, not really putting anything in at all for the club, not even a penny. And, they've literally abandoned the club, employed people that are just financially focused only on commercial, nothing to do with the football pitch. And as a result, the football pitch has slowly got worse and worse and worse. And you can see by the results, years without any real competition, years without any real achievement. And we definitely need that to happen. The Glazers need to go. So Sir Jim Radcliffe is definitely put himself out there, and we definitely need to help him by applying pressure on that kind of on his move towards, hopefully getting the club. Um, I think it's something that will take time, and I think it's something that, however you can help, whether it's, not watching the games, people are doing many of things, not going into the ground, coming into the ground, with banners, wearing the green and gold instead, as any way possible, of just trying to show your support for the Glazers being removed from the club, and being the owners of the club. I think it's very important.
It's quite interesting as well. One of the UV members in the chat said, Owen, the fact that Glazers didn't come out and say the club isn't for sale is a sign that things are in motion. If it wasn't up for sale, they have to say that to avoid the stock market manipulation. Obviously, there is lots of regulations with the stock market. Obviously, we're on the New York Stock Exchange of what they can and can't do. There would appear clearly those in that financial world and those sort of elite, money circles, as it were, clearly there is some conversation or some indication that something is happening or something
Yeah.
could happen at Manchester United. That's why Sir Jim Ratcliffe is circling. That's why other consortiums, he's not alone, there are other consortiums are circling, because for the first time they think actually something could happen here. Now, there was a report yesterday saying that the Glazers were considering basically following the Barcelona model of selling off parts of the television rights to pay for the stadium, which Manchester United, and this is why it's significant, United did come out and say, no, we've never considered that. That's not going to happen. So you look at that and you go, wow, when you do want to deny things, you can come out and deny them then. And they've no
Yeah.
comment. They've said no comment about a lot of the other ownership stuff. So I think there is some significance in that they're not saying a lot. And I do think there is certainly an element of consideration there. And that's where, again, the fans become so important, because they have to almost, again, everyone will be watching Monday anyway, because it's Monday Night Football. It's Manchester United versus Liverpool. It's the biggest game of the season. It's the game that the most people watch. And it just feels like a perfect storm for everything. It
Yeah.
really does feel like a
Yeah.
perfect storm for everything, and a real opportunity. So again, as Flex said before, well, I certainly am not going to come on here and tell people what to do or how to do it, or question how much of a fan they are, because I don't think that's fair. I think the best thing,
Exactly.
myself personally, is to do is just, as we said, maximize exposure. If you're not going to go in the
Yeah.
ground, you want to be outside the ground, that's great. If you want to be in the ground holding up a banner, that's great. If you're going to go on social media and put Glazers out, should Jim Ratcliffe in, that's great as well. If you say I'm not going to buy the shirt, that's great too. You can do whatever you want. I think as long as everyone's along the same page of, these guys need to go. I think that's the message that we need to be saying. Let's get to a couple of super chats. JJ is the latest member of the UV Members Club. Welcome, JJ. You can join JJ in the UV Members Club by clicking the link in the video description. It's also the pinned comment in the live chat as well. Sandro says, FYI, unless they release a statement that the club is for sale, it's illegal to let these rumors go, because it's stock market exchange manipulation. Well, obviously, whenever there's rumors of a sale, obviously what happens to the stock price, it goes up, because people start buying stock to try and make money from it. So you are right in that case. So it can only go on for so long, I suppose. WJ Barrett says, Jim put a bid in, 6 billion profit, they won't decline. Well, I don't know if Sir Jim Ratcliffe has actually put in a bid just yet. A bit like with transfers, sometimes they put the bid in once they know it's going to be officially accepted, as it were. I think Sir Jim Ratcliffe had his spokesperson put out some quotes that got a lot of people talking and certainly got the Glazers thinking. I think that's probably the accurate assumption there. And Antony says, Casemiro is giving Ronaldo more power at the club. There's obvious clicks, and Ronaldo will have the Madrid and Portuguese/foreign players on his side. So it's a bit of a Mean Girls situation. There's lots of different clicks going on at Old Trafford. And Mark Harris says, Man United, more drama than Debbie does Dallas. Well, the thing is, I don't get the reference. I've heard of Dallas, the TV show. Do you understand the reference, Josh? No?
I don't know the reference.
No, I don't get the reference. I
Not
believe
even
it's a
Josh
show.
does.
I believe it's a show. Let's move on and get these last topics done quickly. Cody Gakpo is considered to be a cheaper alternative to Antony, as we kind of touched on earlier. According to the Telegraph, specifically Jason Burt, Manchester United are to submit a formal bid for Cody Gakpo and are now expected to sign him. He is their number one target to improve their attacking options after their offer of nearly 80 million euros was rejected by Ajax for Antony. PSV do not want to reveal a deal for Gakpo before their playoff against Rangers, but they will sell even if they reach the Champions League group stages. The player has told them he wants to join Manchester United. PSV are holding out for £38.2 million for Gakpo, but the negotiations are not expected to be a problem once Manchester United make their bid, as they can make up the difference with add-ons. I think that's really key there, Marcel. My concern previously was, well, if PSV actually get to the Champions League group stage proper, that might sort of scupper a deal for a Cody Gakpo, because Champions League football, we don't have it. Yeah. And then suddenly PSV, when it comes to finances, they get that Champions League money. That's pretty good for them. But by all accounts, irrespective if they get to the group stage or not, Gakpo said, I want to go to United. And it's just a case of waiting a bit of time now, I guess.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see what happens. But there's not much time left, though. And that's the only thing. There's not much time left. We have to be a lot more aggressive in the market right now, because it was a couple weeks, 10, 14 days. We need players to come in, and we've got what, Liverpool, I think Leicester and Southampton within the next 14 days or so. So there's still a few more fixtures that you'll be playing, and you want to get these. I want to see Casemiro on the football pitch. I need to see Gakpo if he's coming, or Antony. I need to see these players coming in and integrating with the squad. So these should have all been done, prepared, ready for the start of the season. And this is more reason for us to be annoyed at the ownership and the boardroom. We need to be prepared. Our manager needed to have the squad ready so that he could be able to utilize them and blend them for the games. Yes, if it gets done, we have to accept that, we're still going into the season with players that we really do need. We need strength and depth, but let's see if this one happens. I mean, like I was saying before, we spoke about it, I think it was a couple of days ago. Ruud van Nistelrooy is the manager of that team. So I think there will be a deal done there, hopefully. And if it's somebody that we really want, I think he can play up in the forward line anywhere, left side, right side, even up front. I think he'll be a striker for us, to be honest with you. Obviously, Ronaldo's there, so second fiddle to him, but we'll see what happens.
I would prefer this deal than the Antony deal. I really would. I think it's an easier deal to do. Obviously, it's a cheaper deal to do. And I think it's a more fairer value for money deal. I think that's the real key thing here. Whenever we talk about money, sometimes people go, well, it's not your money. Who cares? Don't you just care that we get the player? I would rather we spend less money and get the same quality of player, which I believe Cody Gakpo is. You look at his output last season, he scored more goals than Antony. I think he was involved in more goals than Antony. He's a more, he's been the captain at points at PSV as well. Yeah. So I look at that, and then I think, well, we still would then have money left over to still spend. And Man United will still spend between now and the end of the window, because we need to. They're panicking. They know we're rubbish. Because look at the first two games. We need massive reinforcements. Otherwise, the manager and the club are going to be in big trouble. So I think Gakpo is better value for money. I think it's easier to do. I think it's faster to do. Antony at this point, considering how this is going with him trying to force it through and Ajax still saying no, blah, 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 that's a deal that you could see getting done, if it did get done, end of the window, like deadline day, certainly. And obviously, I know that people will say, well, Antony's a right winger, Cody Gakpo's a left winger, but I look at it as, especially at Manchester United, those wingers are like they do that the whole game. It's not really. It doesn't
Yeah,
matter where you start. It really doesn't.
yeah,
It's not like Liverpool in the sense that Mo Salah most of the time will stick to one side of the pitch. Yes, he'll sort of drift and maybe swap a couple of times, but Manchester United, so many times last season, you would see Jadon Sancho start really well on the left hand side. 10 minutes later, he's on the right hand side for 20 minutes. Then he's back on the left hand side. I would see a similar situation with Gakpo and whoever he's playing, and maybe it is Sancho once again. So, uh, and to your point, Marcel, I also think that he played a few games as a striker because he can play there too. And you look at how things are going in that striking position. Martial's back in training, but who knows when he's going to be injured again. Cristiano
yeah,
Ronaldo, what's his future even going to look like at the club too? So we
yeah,
need someone that can play in there that isn't a conversation like a Rashford of can he? We know Cody Gakpo can, in my opinion.
yeah.
So that's kind of the latest when it comes to Cody Gakpo. Again, I am confident that that deal now will get done, but it'll be interesting to see because it does feel like Marcel, it's Antony or Cody Gakpo, or
Yeah.
can it be both? Can it be both? Can we sign a left and a right winger?
No way, no way, no way, Owen. I mean, we need our positions, and I think it's going to be one or the other. And just because of the frame of the player in Hackball, I think he's going to be more suited to what we want. Somebody that can play on the wings, which he's comfortable with that frame, but also somebody that we can use as a target man, and hopefully the link up play of Martial is really good. If he can match that level or go or become to that level with his frame, with his ability in the air, crosses, it adds to our style of football. We want to get crosses into the box here at United. That's going to help with somebody a bit more taller, a bit more physical. Again, we don't know if he's going to be a class player yet in the league, but Ten Hag, we trust in Ten Hag to make him a better player. But and it's a good point. A cheaper option or a more affordable option means you can go into the market elsewhere and maybe spend a little bit more on a right back or spend a little bit more on another central midfielder. We still need the outgoings. I haven't seen any traction right now with outgoings. There must be at least two or three players that we can get sold within this market. Maguire, I really hope and I'm alluding to as one. Maybe Scott. He's a good squad player, but I've got the likes of Zidane Iqbal coming through. I really want to see him get a lot of games this season. And maybe then of course you have to look at Eric Bay potentially and Wan-Bissaka. So there's about 4 or 5 players that I've named there that you can amount to about 30 more million, 25 more million there. So we'll see what happens, but it's a good option. It's a good option, the cheaper option. I agree with you.
Yeah, I mean, when it comes to Bailly and Wan-Bissaka briefly, I think Romano said last night that Bailly is going to go on loan to Marseille. Seems like there is going to be an option to buy though, so
Yeah,
that could turn into a permanent deal. Wan-Bissaka, we know that it's also a situation where they're negotiating at the moment with Crystal Palace. We don't know that fee. It's been rumored about 10 million, could be more, but there you get some money raised. But again, the report is that it could be two separate deals, but I see it like you said, Marcel. I see it as either or. To be honest, yeah, I don't see that, and I think again going back to Hackpo, I think he would be the preferable option in my opinion. Be sure to smash a like on the like button as well. We're over 500 likes, Marcel. And as we get into the
750.
final story, we can get a 750. Why not? Why
Yeah.
not? We've still got
How many
nearly
how many
1,800
people
people
watching?
watching. Nearly
Yeah, come
1,800.
on.
Yeah, we can get 750. We can absolutely do that. And be sure to subscribe if you new. Finally, of course, Manchester United announced last night that they had reached an agreement with Real Madrid for Casemiro. And we have a little bit of an update when it comes to his medical and the plans for Casemiro over the weekend. Fabrizio Romano tweeting this morning, Casemiro and his agents are now prepared to fly to Manchester. The medical is booked. Then he could be in the stands at Old Trafford for the United Liverpool game. He might be one of the only people in the stands for the United Liverpool game. He also then goes on, Romano, to talk about working on Antony and Gakpo. But the latest when it comes to Casemiro is that he's now prepared to fly out to Manchester. His medical is booked, and then he could be in the stands for that United Liverpool game. What did you make of the announcement last night? It was quite surprising how quickly it has happened. And I guess it goes just to show once again, like, United can do quick deals. When the back's up against the wall, when they want to do it, they can do a deal within a week. They did this one within a week.
This has got to be the fastest one, other than maybe the Malasia, still.
Yeah.
Um, I can't believe that. I was saying this as well the other day. Ericsson took 2 weeks and he was on a free. It's really really peculiar how the club's doing things, and again, it just screams more of let's not get distracted by what the real situation is at hand here. Let's not get distracted by it at all. Quality player, but what's really his motivations? He's want everything to. Of course, you're going to accept 300 to 400k a week, much more than what he was earning at a club that's got a little bit better of a structure in terms of wages. So it speaks volumes of what's going on with the club right now. Fix the problem that we've had for years. We know that we've needed a central midfield, a CDM for years now, and you're only looking to fix it now. You made a really good point in that it's looking like the transfer window from 2018 that we should have been following right now in terms of certain players that we're looking at for the club. So really, really peculiar, but a world-class player. And I'll be honest with that, a world-class player and an upgrade on what we've got. So I'm happy that this gets done swiftly. Would have really liked to see him get a few minutes for us, because he's played in the Super Cup, I believe, which he won. But I would
He's
have
man
liked
of
to
the
see him
match.
against Liverpool.
He was man of the match for the
Yeah,
Super Cup.
man of the match. I've seen him play games against Liverpool and ride up Liverpool defenders and Robertson. I've seen him, give a Mane a difficult time before. I've seen him do well against the Liverpool side. It would have been really good for him to add some quality some necessary quality to our side. So I'm upset about that. He's not part of the squad, and that he'll be in the stadium watching. But it's good. It's good. It's a good sign, but with a bitterness in there that it's taken this long for you to fix a problem.
Let's get to these super chats as we wrap things up here. Mark Harris once again says Conte's wig has more chest than Man United right now. Well, Antonio Conte is he's he's feisty. I really must be said. I like that confrontation he had with Thomas Tuchel. I thought was great. I did see that Thomas Tuchel did eventually. He is banned for this weekend, I think, because there was something of him saying that. I don't. Yeah, I saw that Conte got fined. Definitely, I don't know if he got banned. I know that Thomas Tuchel got banned, but I saw Jesse Marsh saying something which was quite interesting when he said, because they asked him in the press conference, "Oh, Thomas Tuchel could be on the touchline tomorrow," and he said, "Well, he shouldn't be." And they said, well, he might have appealed it, so he could possibly be at the game. And he said, well, if you're a player, and it's a really good point. He said, if you're a player and you get red carded, you miss the next game. Like, you don't, unless it gets overturned or whatever, but you don't get to appeal that. Like, it's just, you don't play. So I thought it was quite a good point by Jesse Marsh. David G says, preseason is preseason, but we can afford to sell by. With the high line we play, him and Varane are our quickest centre-backs. The rest get exposed. Oh, I think so. We can't afford to sell by. The rest get exposed. Look, Eric Bailly, if Eric Bailly could stay fit, 100% you would say keep him. But the stats speak for themselves, unfortunately, with Eric Bailly. And Antony says, I heard Manchester United is interested in Balotelli. He was recommended by Klopp after he defended United recently. Right age, 30 plus. Wow. Mario Balotelli. Why always us? Why always us? Look, Balotelli, which obviously, look, it's a joking comment, but Balotelli, he was... I remember when he was at City, obviously he's crazy, letting off fireworks and all that kind of stuff in his house, or whatever. But he had moments of quality. He gets the assist for City when they won the league on the final day. But no, it's a joke. No, thank you. No, thank you. Anyway, guys, be sure to smash a like on the like button. Be sure to subscribe, bottom right-hand corner. If you wish to join the UV members, you can do so by clicking the link in the video description. It's also the pinned comment in the live chat. As you can see on the sidebar, the match view is going to be live Monday, 7:30. Join me at UV HQ for the big one under lights at Old Trafford tonight. The match preview is coming out with AGT from the COP TV and myself previewing that big game on Monday. Really fun. The Flex and KG show will be back once KG is back off holiday. He needs a break. We all do. We all do, especially if he's having a good time. Tactical View is out right now, and obviously will be out next Monday. Well, no, next probably Tuesday, I guess, breaking down the Liverpool game. Transfer View every day, 9 a.m. We'll break down all of the transfers here as Manchester United hopefully sign more players. And the overview is out. Be sure to check that out because it got squashed last night. Anyway, guys, we're out of here. Have a good Saturday, and we'll speak to you again very soon. Peace.